Hello, hello. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Not Just Nintendo, a video game podcast that is about Nintendo. But it's not just Nintendo here at Not Just Nintendo, as I talk about other video games as well. And once again, it is another week with the Switch 2. It's now been a little over a month since the thing came out, as of when you guys are seeing this. And I should say, normally when I say as of when you guys are seeing this, it's because I'm recording on Tuesday, the day before the podcast goes out. But today, I'm actually recording on Wednesday, the day the podcast goes out. So it might actually go out just a little bit late today, like half an hour or an hour or so. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping to get it done as fast as possible. Basically what happened, I've been a little busy, been working in my room a lot to get things ready to record my collection tour. I've also been working on a Minecraft video for the Minecraft channel, which, by the way, you can go subscribe to the Minecraft channel and the Geography channel. They're both in the description. And, of course, if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to this channel, you might as well subscribe to this channel as well. So I've been getting ready for all that stuff. It was my birthday yesterday. That was pretty cool. And, things have been a little bit busy. So, yesterday, I was going to record the podcast, but I realized I had barely played anything. So, instead, I spent a lot of time yesterday and some time this morning playing all the way through a game. So, I will talk about that in just a moment. But first of all, weekly update on Donkey Kong Bonanza. There are 8 days until Donkey Kong Bonanza. Next episode, there will be just a single day until Donkey Kong Bonanza. I guess it's a little annoying that I'm not going to be able to talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza next week. I'm sure I'll mention it, right, but I won't have played it next week. But the good news is that 2 episodes from now, on episode 23, I will have had 6 days to play the game. So I imagine there will be a lot to say 2 episodes from now. But next episode, you're still going to have to wait, because I will not have played it next episode. But 2 episodes from now, sure. I have bought another Switch 2 game. I went out yesterday to Walmart, and I bought Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. I've been wanting to buy Yakuza 0 for a little while now. I was originally going to buy that instead of Sonic Generations, but I decided on Sonic Generations, and, I still had enough money, even having bought this, I still have enough money for Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I figured it was alright. So I now have 4 Switch 2 games, and in 8 days I'll have a 5th one. So that's pretty cool. Collection's coming along. Although I will say, I've been a little concerned here lately. It doesn't feel like, here's my analogy, right? Nintendo, the last couple years, it's been a little quiet. They had closed the oven. They were baking something, right? It was obvious. They were baking something. And now, after a couple years, the oven opens up, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Where are the games, Nintendo? Where's 3D Mario? Where's all the Mario stuff? I don't know. It's alright, though. It might not be as bad as I'm making it out. We did not get a June Direct. It's July now. This isn't even the first episode of July. I forgot. Last week, it was July as well. And I never mentioned last week, but I did make it the title of the episode. It is now quarter 3. So quarter 3 of the year, that's pretty crazy. We're more than halfway through the year. And I have a book that I track all the video games I beat in. So I track, the title of the game, whether it's the first time I beat it, and then my hour count. And also the day I beat it on, of course. That's the most important part. And I have this little book that I do it in. And I've been doing this since last year. So at the beginning of last year, I started doing this. Last year, and around July, I had to go onto a second page to fit how many games I had beaten. And so once again, this year, I've now moved on to my second page. So I just find that exciting, we're halfway through the year, and I'm halfway through, I've filled a full page. So in theory, I should fill 2 full pages, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. I imagine I'll play longer stuff in the second half of the year. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. Regardless, it's not really important. But yes, it is July. That means we did not get a June Direct. There has been a June Direct basically every year since they started doing Directs. I don't think they've missed a single year. Of course, they've now missed a year. Now, this is not surprising. This is not worrying or anything. I'm not surprised at all that there wasn't a June Direct. I wasn't really expecting a June Direct. I thought maybe there was a chance. I'm more thinking a July Direct seems more reasonable, because of course, June was a busy month. They had, literally just put out the console, really very little had come out, we already knew about some stuff from the April presentation, so I don't think a June Direct would have made much sense. I think the only reason why they still do that Direct in June specifically is because it's halfway through the year, and also because historically, that's when E3 was, and even now, that's when the Summer Games Fest is. But I think there's less reason with E3 not existing for any of the big companies to have their presentations in June. So we have been seeing every now and then presentations in May or in July. I mean, the State of Play is often in May, right? And now, you know, we're seeing possibly a Nintendo Direct in July. So I think as time's gone on, and that makes sense, as we've gotten farther and farther from E3 not existing, it seems like June is slowly not becoming the big time of the year. Now, I still think it's probably a big deal, right? I mean, we do still have Summer Games Fest. We did still have some other stuff going on, but it does seem like maybe that will start to die down a little bit. So yeah, I'm expecting a July Direct. I guess it's possible there's like an August Direct. I don't think we have to wait till September. I'm pretty convinced there'll be something between now and September. I guess I don't know that for sure. Here's my theory right now, because of course, I've talked about it a little bit. This year is Mario's 45th anniversary. And of course, Nintendo likes to do things for Mario's anniversaries. I mean, we got, for the 25th anniversary, we got Mario All-Stars. We got the Super Nintendo port onto the Wii. For the 30th anniversary, we got those couple amiibos, and we got Super Mario Maker. And for the 35th anniversary, we got Mario Bros. 35, we got Super Mario 3D All-Stars. And I guess also in that Direct, they announced the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So all that stuff was kind of part of that. Oh, and we got the little Game & Watch as well. So, you know, obviously there's an assumption that we will now get stuff for the 40th anniversary, because they've got the last few. They haven't missed one. Of course, it is possible that we don't get a 40th anniversary for Mario, because the Switch 2 came out this year, and, you know, they're a little busy. It's possible they don't do anything. I think they'll do something, though. And for me, I mean, in 2020, for the 35th anniversary, they did the Direct in September. That was like the September Direct was actually just the Mario Direct. Personally, I think that's what's going to happen again. I think they're going to just repeat that. I think we're going to get a July Direct, possibly an August Direct, and I think that's going to be a smaller Direct than the April one. I don't think there's going to be a ton going on, but I hope there's at least a couple big things. I think we'll hear about Splatoon Raiders. I think we'll hear a lot about Metroid Prime 4. And I'm really, really hoping there's something else big, maybe for next year. I don't know when Kirby Air Riders is coming out. It seemed like that was maybe a little far off still. But who knows? Maybe that's a big, like, April thing. Or maybe that's a March thing, like, early in the year. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely expecting to hear about Splatoon Raiders, Metroid Prime 4, probably at least a mention about Kirby Air Riders. And after that, we'll see. But I really hope there's at least one other big game. You know, we've had Bonanza come out. We've lost a big... Or it's not come out yet, but it's about to come out. That's a big game lost there. So now we need something else to be hyped about again. Now, of course, Directs are usually like Wednesday or Thursday. If Bonanza's on the 17th and that's a Wednesday, I could very much see this presentation being on the 24th or the 25th of this month. That could very much happen, or it could be early August. It could be like the 4th or the 5th or whatever that day is. Maybe it's the 3rd. It doesn't really matter, though. Personally, I think that's when we're going to hear about this Direct. I think it's going to be the last week of July, maybe the first week of August. And I think there's going to be a Direct. I think it's going to be not as big as the April presentation, but it's going to have some stuff in it. And then in September, we're going to have a Mario Direct. I don't know when in September. I don't think it really matters when in September. It could be the first week. It could be the last week. It could be somewhere in the middle. It doesn't really matter. I think we're going to hear about it, though. As far as my predictions for the Mario 40th anniversary, I don't really have much. Surely there will be something, but I really don't know exactly what it could be. For one, I will say what I am pretty confident on is that we'll hear about the Mario movie. Because that's supposed to be coming out on April 3rd, 2026. So, in theory, we'll have this September Direct and then probably a February Direct. And that'll be the last mention of it before it comes out. Because I imagine they're gonna be back to the regular Direct schedule starting in September. Like, obviously, June was messed up. The April Direct was a little early, and we didn't really get a February Direct, or at least not one of the same... Well, I mean, I guess, you know, it was in March instead. Things have been a little weird this year because of the launch of the Switch 2, but I imagine things will be back to normal. So, I'm guessing we'll hear about the Mario movie, because it would have to be either in September or in February. I think they would have to talk about it. And I think September makes more sense. If that's going to be the Mario 40th Anniversary Direct, I think they're going to do it then. I think there's also a good chance we get some other collection or remastering of something. I could see a situation where we get Mario 3D All-Stars again with Galaxy 2. I guess that's possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but I do think it's possible. Of course, if there is going to be a 3D Mario game, I will absolutely go bananas. I will go bonanza if there's going to be a 3D Mario game. And if there is going to be a 3D Mario game, I would assume they would announce that at the 40th anniversary direct in September. And I would guess that that would come out next year. I don't think that'll be a this year thing if it is happening. Personally, I really don't think it's happening. But if it is happening, I think it'll be next year, and I think they'll announce it in this direct. I think there's also a really good chance that we get like a Mario Maker game, whether that's Mario Maker 3, whether that's Mario Maker 3D. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, there's definitely some routes they could take with it. They could do basically Mario Maker 2 with a couple extra added things. Maybe they could add a couple tile sets, right? They could add like Super Mario Land 2. They could add Super Mario Land 1. They could add a Mario Bros. Wonder tile set. Maybe they even do like an Odyssey in 2D tile set, kind of like how 3D World got put in 2D for a tile set. I could see something like that. And maybe they add in like other characters. Maybe you can make levels for Kirby. Maybe you can make levels for Donkey Kong. I don't know. I mean, these are just options I'm throwing around. I think it's possible. I think it's also possible we hear about maybe some sort of new Mario versus Donkey Kong game. I mean, we got that game right at the beginning of this year. We got the remake. I think it's possible that maybe they've made the remake so they could put out a new game next year. Maybe we hear about a new Captain Toad game. We had Treasure Tracker on the Wii U, got ported over to Switch. It did pretty well for what it was. I think it's possible. You know, the EPD Tokyo team, I guess they're not EPD Tokyo anymore. I think they're like Section 8 or something. But whatever. They made Donkey Kong Bonanza. Maybe they didn't have time to make a new 3D Mario, so instead they put out a Captain Toad. I mean, I don't know. I think it's possible, right? It's also possible we hear about a Luigi's Mansion 4. These are all just ideas I'm bouncing off here, but yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities for this direct. Even if we don't get the big 3D Mario we're hoping for, I think there's a lot of things that could still happen, and I think it would still be an exciting direct. Personally, I know this is a wild prediction. I don't think it's going to happen. I would really like a Mario Bros. 40th. We had the Mario Bros. 35 online game back in 2020. I think they should do another one, and I think they should freaking keep it around this time. Don't remove it after 6 months, Nintendo. That's stupid. Or no, it wasn't even 6. It was like 5 months. That's stupid, Nintendo. Don't do that. But yes, I'd like a Mario 40. Maybe they want to do another game. Maybe they don't want to do Mario Bros. 1. I don't know. Whatever they want to do, I would be happy with it. Personally, I would really like Mario Maker. Any sort of remastered collection they want to give me, I would be happy with that too. So honestly, I don't think there's much that could go wrong here with the 3D Mario Direct. Even if they don't have a new 3D Mario game, I think there's a good chance... Or not 3D Mario Direct, the Mario 40th Direct. Even if there's not a new 3D Mario game, I still think it'll be an exciting Direct. Now, of course, I'm saying this, and potentially we might not even get a Direct at all. Like, and maybe we won't get this August or July Direct I was talking about. Maybe we won't get anything until the Mario Direct, or maybe we won't get a Mario Direct. Maybe it'll just be the September Direct. I do imagine if we don't get a Summer Direct, we will get the September Direct, and I'm guessing it'll be a Mario Direct, but we'll see what happens. I mean, honestly, this is a lot of speculation. It just seems like, based on what they've done in the past, it seems like that's the most likely situation. I guess I can talk a little bit about the game I beat this morning, just a few hours ago. And, the Switch 2 came out a little over a month ago, but screw that thing, there's not enough games on that thing. I'm playing the Wii U. I started playing this game 2 days ago, on July 7th. Played a little bit of it that night, played a bunch of it yesterday, and then I wrapped it up this morning. That game, of course, is Splatoon. So this year is Splatoon's 10th anniversary. Of course, we've had 3 Splatoon games now, and a couple expansions, and it looks like we're going to be getting Splatoon Raiders, I'm guessing, next year. Splatoon, obviously, I think pretty much everybody's familiar with Splatoon. It's suddenly become one of Nintendo's most popular series, one of their biggest online series. Probably only behind Mario Kart. I would imagine it probably has more players than pretty much any other online thing than Mario Kart. Maybe Smash Brothers competes, but either way, it's a big thing, especially over in Japan. It sells like crazy over in Japan, and it sells pretty well here as well. So Splatoon's a big thing. It's made by the same team as the Animal Crossing team, which tells me that we're not going to have an Animal Crossing game for a few years because they're working on Splatoon Raiders, which is fine. I could wait a few years, and I don't think anybody else is like really dying for an Animal Crossing game right now. But yes, Splatoon. It's the 10th anniversary of Splatoon. The first game came out in 2015 on the Wii U. It was one of two games that came out on the Wii U, the other one being Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Uh, and of course, then there was Splatoon 2 in 2017. There was the Octo expansion for it, which is now free with the expansion pass of Switch Online. There was Splatoon 3 in 2022, and there was an expansion for that, the Side Order DLC. And that's what we've seen from Splatoon, because it's one of the newest Nintendo properties. I think Nintendo IPs they come in waves, right? You get new IPs in waves. You usually get one per console at least. But the last time we were getting a ton of new IPs at once was probably like the GameCube era. And Splatoon's been one of the ones since then that we've gotten. And Splatoon, I've never had tons of interest in Splatoon. Of course, when the Wii U was like the current thing, I played it a lot. Like, I probably played several thousand hours of the Wii U. I imagine, actually, I probably played almost as much Wii U as I did the Switch. Even though the Switch is, like, really when I was getting more and more into video games, I still think I played probably about the same amount on the Wii U. Now, if you don't count playing the Wii inside the Wii U, then I guess I've definitely played more Switch. But yeah, I think the Wii U, I definitely played a few thousand hours of it. A lot of Animal Crossing City Folk, but some other games as well. But that said, I never really bought stuff when it came out on Wii U, because I was kind of too young to care about that kind of thing. I'd watch, like, Let's Plays of a lot of stuff, and I wasn't really bothered about buying things when they were coming out. Now, of course, I am. The only game that I think I bought, like, really close to its launch, like, within a few weeks, was probably Paper Mario Color Splash. I remember that being, like, I got it, like, pretty close to its launch. I'm not sure if there were more, that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But Splatoon is a game that I totally missed during the Wii U generation. I really just didn't have interest in it. I do remember it being a big thing online, though. I think, like, Splatoon 1 was probably one of the most talked about Wii U games, which, of course, no Wii U game was crazily talked about. I guess other than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, if you count that, but I would say that's a Switch game. It's not a Wii U game. But yeah, so the Wii U, it died. It died a miserable death. It didn't get very many games, but Splatoon was one of the shining stars on Wii U, and it was probably the biggest online thing. I believe Splatoon was the second best-selling game on Wii U as well, only behind Mario Kart 8. So Splatoon definitely made a good name for itself, even on its first entry. And I've got to say, it's a great game. My first ever Splatoon experience was Splatoon 3 a couple years ago. I bought Splatoon 3. I played a couple online matches, and I do mean a couple. I think it was like 2 or 3. And then I started the single player, and I just kind of got away from it. But here recently, I'm like, you know what? This is a Nintendo property. I've got to beat all the games because everything Nintendo I've got to play. And so I've had Splatoon 1 for a while. So I figured, you know what? It's a pretty short campaign. Might as well go do it, and I did. And I played it through over a couple days. It took me about 4 hours. Online, it says about 5 hours. The Splatoon campaign is fantastic. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. I heard on some of my podcasts that I've listened to, I've heard a lot of good things about the Splatoon 1 campaign, people talking about it back when it came out in 2015. The only thing a lot of people didn't like was the final boss, and of course, I can agree, we'll get there. But there's a lot of unique enemies and a lot of unique mechanics with Splatoon. I think most people are familiar with it. I don't think it's something I really need to get too deep into. But yeah, I enjoyed how, like, pretty much every level there, at least in the first half of the game, they introduced something new pretty much every level. And even later in the game, they were introducing something new most levels. Like, I feel like the third or fourth level from the end, they introduced a new mechanic, which I guess is a little weird, right? Because, like, you're not going to see it again. But it's also kind of neat, right? Because it means, you're getting new and fresh ideas the whole way through the game. I guess something I find really weird is how this is the same team that makes Animal Crossing. I'm like, I don't really see, like, anything similar about Splatoon and Animal Crossing. I guess the only similar things between the two being, the only things they have in common being that they're made by the same team. They're both Nintendo properties, and they're both kind of cartoony, but that's about it. Pretty much every other thing about these two games is not at all similar. Like, it's very strange that these are the same two teams, or the same one team making two games. But honestly, I definitely think these are the guys to make Splatoon, and I think these are the guys to make Animal Crossing, maybe, possibly. Splatoon's great. Splatoon 1 was fantastic. I don't have Splatoon 2, but I can't imagine it is very expensive to get a pre-owned copy. Now, of course, I don't have a GameStop near me anymore, so I'd have to actually go elsewhere to find it. But when I do find it, I will buy Splatoon 2. I don't know if that'll happen this year because, again, like I said, I can't really get any games that are more than 2 years old very easily, which kind of sucks. Because I mean, I would definitely consider Splatoon 2 a pretty recent game. I mean, it was only 8 years ago, and yet can't find it anywhere. So that's pretty unfortunate. But at some point, I'll definitely get around to it, and I hope by then the DLC for it is still on the expansion pass, so I can play through that as well. And then eventually, I'll get around to Splatoon 3. I'm hoping I can do all that stuff before Splatoon Raiders came out. That's kind of part of what pushed me to doing this now, was that Splatoon Raiders was supposed to be coming out. Obviously, we don't know when, but I'm assuming it'll be next year, probably midway through the year, probably about this time of the year, I would guess. Seems like a good time of year for Splatoon to come out. I don't think it's like an end of the year thing. I guess it just depends on how ambitious this Splatoon Raiders ends up being. It looks pretty ambitious, and it looks like it's got a big single player thing. So maybe they could put it out at the end of the year. It just doesn't really seem like an end of the year kind of thing. Obviously, besides the campaign, there's a lot of stuff in Splatoon 1. There's the online stuff, there's like all these shops, so you can go around in the lobby. I can't do any of that. None of that stuff is available. You can't do anything. You walk around the plaza, because of course the online servers got shut down last year. You walk around the plaza and you'll talk to like some guy at a shop, and I figured I could probably buy stuff to customize my character at least, but no. Instead, it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to you because you're not online. And that's like, they hide it behind that, and they're telling you to connect to the internet. And I'm not really sure if that stuff would be there or not. I didn't really try. Because here's the weird thing about the Wii U. It's like the Wii now, where the Wi-Fi, you have to extend compatibility. And so I had to use a hotspot to download the update for Splatoon. I assume that update was just the update to make sure you couldn't go online, but it was a little strange. I had to actually connect to a hotspot with extended compatibility to play this game, and I had to install an update that was 400 megabytes. And of course, on my PC, through Wi-Fi, not even plugged in, I get like 400 megabytes down a second. So in theory, I could have done that update pretty much instantly on my computer, but instead, on the Wii U, with its Wi-Fi limiter and the fact that I was over a hotspot with extended compatibility, I instead waited 20 minutes for this update. So something that I could have done like in a second on my computer took like 20 minutes on the Wii U. So as much as I still feel like the Wii U is a pretty modern piece of hardware, it's definitely aged and quite antiquated in a number of ways. That said, Splatoon is a fantastic looking game, even 10 years later. I mean, to be fair, maybe I'm not the best opinion on that, because I feel like a lot of games from 10 years ago still look fantastic when it seems like a lot of people don't. Personally, the visuals just really don't bother me. I'm really not bothered, for the most part. There are some games that I don't like because of the way they look. Mostly ones that were trying to be too realistic during the 6th and 7th generation. But yeah, there's definitely some games that have aged poorly visually, and Splatoon is not one of them. And actually, modern conveniences, it feels very modern. I mean, again, because it is quite modern, and it's a very modern game. But I guess it's worth noting that they really got a lot of things right on the first outing. And so I'm definitely excited to try Splatoon 2, see if there's anything different. I've heard there's really not much different, but obviously it's a different campaign, so I guess I'll still be able to play that through, and I'm assuming it'll have a lot of the same great ideas that Splatoon 1 had. I know Splatoon 3 has a performance boost on the Switch 2. It got one just a couple weeks ago. They put out that update, so I'm actually really excited to play Splatoon 3. And, I mean, I guess I've never... Well, I did play it. I played like an hour of it on Switch 1, but I probably won't notice the difference because it's been so long and I played so little of it. But I'm excited to take advantage of that update for sure, because I've heard it runs really nicely now. Maybe I'll even try a little bit of the online with Splatoon 3. We'll see. Although it is, it's been out for a few years now, I imagine there's probably not a ton of people still playing the online, and the people that are probably very good at the game at this point, so I don't know. I might not. We'll see what happens. I'm not really too into online stuff, but I'll at least probably try a couple matches of it, a couple rounds of it. When I'm playing Splatoon 2, I might even try to get online and see if anyone's still playing out of curiosity. See if I can even get a match. Anyways, so Splatoon 1 was a great game. Like I said, this was spur of the moment. Just a couple days ago, I was looking around. I pull out a bunch of games, and I look on how long to beat, and I find the shortest one. when I'm kind of just wanting to beat something quickly. And Splatoon 1 was one of the shorter ones. It wasn't the very shortest I could find, but it was one of the shorter ones. And I hadn't played the Wii U in a while, so I was like, you know what? Let's do this one. So that's what I did. I'm definitely gonna be playing some more Wii U stuff. The Wii U is just a fun console to play, and of course, I was playing Splatoon on my birthday. And for those who don't know, the Wii U menu, when you load it up, it has a different sound and a different song on your birthday. So I got the nice little birthday celebration on my Wii U. My Switch 2 didn't do that. My PS5 didn't do that. None of that did that. Just the Wii U. So it has its charm. It has its charm. I think it's a nice console. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people didn't buy it, but I think it's a nice console. I just wish it would have got a few more games. I guess part of the problem was that it sold so bad, and part of the problem was that they were making HD games for the first time. But either way, I wish there would have been more games. Splatoon. Well, anything specific? I guess I can talk more. Like some of the enemies, there are like these, like it's the Octolings, the Octo guys. I didn't pay much attention to the story. But there's Octolings, which look like you, and those are actually pretty tough to fight. I didn't find it too challenging. I didn't find really anything too challenging in Splatoon. I don't think it's supposed to be challenging. There's also these Octo Troopers that have like just regular guns, kind of like you. They shoot pretty quickly, but they're not hard to kill. There's ones that fly around, but they only shoot like one bolt a second, one bolt of ink, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Um, there were ones that explode on impact. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I liked the one, they were like squares, and they would jump at you and leave a square of their color ink on the ground, and you had to shoot them while they were down. I mean, there were some cool things. Basically, in every world, there were like 5 worlds. There was always a level where you had to run from Octolings. I see you had to run, but really, I usually fought them. I think you were supposed to run from them, but I actually usually just fought them because I found it fun to fight them. There was also usually a level where there was a guy who would just, like snipe you with this like weird hurricane of ink, I guess is how I would describe it. He would get you from far away, and you had to run from him, and you had to get to the end of the level and then fight him. It was usually one of those. And then the other ones were just randomly, like, they just introduced some new mechanic, some new, whether it was a spinning platform or whether it was a new enemy that, I don't know, pours buckets on you. I mean, like, just whatever it was. I mean, there was always a new mechanic. There were these sponges that you had to shoot ink at to inflate so you could platform around them. Just a lot of cool, innovative, unique ideas, and I'm definitely excited to play the other 2 games in the series, like I said, to further find some of those great ideas. So, I am very happy with my time with Splatoon 1, and I'm definitely excited to continue with the series. I guess I've said that like 4 times now, so I guess I should stop being redundant. And with that, I think that's going to be the end of the first segment, so I will be back shortly after this quick music break, and we will talk about some news, and then I guess we'll call it a show. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter one, but that's alright. I think next show I'm probably going to have a guest on, so that'll probably be a little bit longer. It's one of my friends. Maybe next show, maybe not for a couple. We'll see what happens. I'll have to do some scheduling with that stuff. And then also in 2 shows, we'll have a much longer show, I imagine, because I'll be talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza. So I think that's alright if this one's a little shorter. And we're back. So, in the last week, we had the Bandai Namco Summer Showcase for 2025. Obviously, for 2025, if it wasn't for 2025, it probably wouldn't have been in 2025. I talked that this was happening last week, and I was going to watch it live, and then I completely forgot about it. And to be honest, it was really lame. There wasn't much going on. It felt very fake. They had their like guests to like host it, and they were asking like the stupidest questions like ever. Like honestly, I can't even think of an example. Just watch it yourself, skim through it yourself. You'll see it's so fake. Like it's actually I don't know. I mean, I know all of these presentations are fake, but man, it was really bad. I don't even have much to say about it. But I'll read through the stuff they talked about. My Hero Academia, All's Justice. I've literally couldn't care less about that. We have Code Vein 2. I'm sure there's some people that are happy about that. Patapon 1+2 Replay. That actually is kind of interesting. That's a rhythm game. It's a action-based rhythm game. Um, I don't really. I mean, I'm probably never gonna play it, but it is one of the ones that if I had to play one from here, I might consider it. Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. This has been a big news for some time now. This is a roguelite in like an oriental setting. I didn't really say a whole lot about it. I skimmed through this direct. I didn't like watch, the whole thing. It was a full hour worth of just nonsense. Like honestly, it wasn't very good. If it was a Nintendo Direct, I would have watched it. If it was a State of Play, if it was a Xbox Showcase, probably. But there's some of these third-party ones, I almost would rather just skim most of them. But yeah, Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree seemed pretty cool. Obviously, Shadow Labyrinth was probably the single biggest thing they talked about. Though, again, they didn't really talk a ton about Shadow Labyrinth, not as much as I would have expected, considering the thing's coming out in 9 days. I'm kind of interested in Shadow Labyrinth. There's a chance I might play it, but I'm not going to play it on launch. I'm not going to play it close to launch. But I could see myself playing that later in the year or in a couple of years. Little Nightmares 3, I'm going to get around to Little Nightmares 1 and 2 at some point, and then obviously I'll play the third one as well. But again, I don't know much about Little Nightmares, so I can't really speak on it much. But I just think it was worth mentioning that it was here. They're doing a new Everybody's Golf, which I'm sure will be pretty much the exact same as the last Everybody's Golf, because that's Everybody's Golf for you. Super Robot Wars Y, The Blood of Dawnwalker, some Tekken 8, like DLC, new character. I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to Tekken. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And Digimon Story Time Traveler. So, yeah, honestly, really couldn't care less about this direct, but I know it was kind of one of the bigger things that happened in the last week. Patapon's interesting. Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, that's kind of cool looking. Shadow Labyrinth, that's probably the highlight for me, and then Little Nightmares 3 is alright as well. Everything else, couldn't really care less about. They spent way too long on each thing, I feel. But yeah, that was the Bandai Namco showcase. Stalker 2 coming to PlayStation. Once again, we have another Xbox exclusive coming to PlayStation. And actually, the first PlayStation exclusive that I know of is coming to Xbox on August 26th, that game being Helldivers 2. So it's kind of interesting that PlayStation is doing the same thing, but this is just a one-time thing. I don't think they're going to, start putting all their exclusives over. I think Helldivers 2 is one that makes a lot of sense for them to try to put everywhere. But I don't expect, Spider-Man or God of War or any of those things to start coming to Xbox. GameSpot claims that Disney is hiring for a game that will herald the next generation of Disney to the world. They're looking for gameplay engineer positions. Disney says they are building an expert development team that will be building a groundbreaking game experience that will herald the next generation of Disney to the world. Apparently, both roles mention Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel, so it seems like it might be a cross-property project, GameSpot suggests. It mentions having experience in Unreal Editor for Forkknife. So it seems like Disney might be doing either something within Forkknife, or they're doing their own thing similar to Forkknife with a lot of cross-property stuff. I guess that's interesting. I'm sure we'll hear about this eventually, but it could be years. I don't think there's really much else to say about this. It's just, Disney's hiring people for more game development. I guess they've done quite a bit of game development, in the last years. That new Epic Mickey that came out a couple of years ago. I mean, there's been a lot of Disney stuff coming out, so I guess that's neat. I mean, I don't really care about Disney, to be honest, but I guess a new big online cross-platform thing, I mean, I'm sure that would probably do pretty well, because that seems to be the kind of stuff that does well, especially with, Forkknife and stuff. Razer and Pokemon are doing some sort of collab. Razer being the gaming tech company. They make microphones, they make headsets, they make monitors, mouses, pre-built PCs, that kind of stuff, PC stuff. Apparently they're doing some sort of crossover with Pokemon. We don't know really anything about it. This is reported by GameSpot. I guess they posted on X, said, "Are you ready for a new journey?" And then they tagged Pokemon with a 4-second video with just an animation showing Razer and Pokemon together. I guess we're going to hear news about this on July 17th at 8 a.m. Pacific, so that is 11 Eastern. I will probably not care about that because I will be too busy playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. No, I'm sure I'll check it out and see what it's about. I don't really know what it could be. I guess GameSpot's suggesting there might just be some new keyboard, new mouse, something like that. I would imagine though, if it was just something minor like that, they would probably not make a big post about it. Like I would guess it would be something bigger. Maybe they're making an entire PC like Pokemon themed. I don't really know. I don't know how they. I don't know. There's also the Pokemon Presents live stream on July 22nd. I don't know when we found out about that, but I found out about it just yesterday, looking in the Nintendo Today app. I'll probably watch that because it's probably going to talk a lot about Pokemon Legends ZA. But I'm not going to like live stream it or anything. I don't really have much valuable to say on Pokemon, but I will watch it just out of curiosity. Limited Run, they're doing a Doom Collector's Edition. I believe this was actually announced a long time ago, and now it's like about to go live in a couple days. The pre-orders for it. It's like a release of Doom on the Super Nintendo with all sorts of cool little extra things. There's a controller that's kind of Doom themed. Apparently, it has a rumble built in as well, which is kind of surprising. Yeah, Limited Run, they do a lot of cool things, especially putting games on older consoles, doing Doom remakes and stuff. I mean, obviously Doom did come out back then. This isn't like a remake, but it's interesting that they're putting out a new edition with extra collector stuff. That's kind of cool. I'm all for Limited Run doing more stuff like that. Personally, I don't really buy any Limited Run stuff because it's kind of expensive, most of it. But it's interesting. It's interesting. It's cool looking. The cartridge itself is blood splattered. I don't know. It's a really cool looking thing. There's a poster that comes with it. I think it's a neat way to play Doom if you want to play it kind of on original hardware. It's a great way to do that. I guess The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, that's on PS5, and it just came out on PC as well, has a new chronological mode, so it kind of changes the way you play the game. It plays the story literally chronologically. I guess it skips around a little bit in the actual game. I haven't played the game. I played the first one. I haven't played the second one quite yet, but I guess with this change, you can now play it in order. I guess that's kind of a weird kind of thing. I know a lot of people seem to be thinking that it's stupid and not worth their time, and I don't know. I will probably play it the original way when I get around to playing it. But I don't have much to say on this because, again, I haven't played the original game. Another Nintendo collaboration. I mean, I guess Pokemon, not quite Nintendo, but it's sort of Nintendo. I actually saw this in Nintendo Today app. It's a Nintendo collaboration with Animal Crossing and Crocs. They're actually pretty cool looking Crocs. It's like green Crocs with a bunch of Animal Crossing charms. There was one that was a house that was like quite tall and noticeable on the Croc. I thought it was kind of cool. Look up a picture if you haven't seen it. It's kind of neat looking. That said, I don't like Crocs. I think they're stupid looking. I don't think they're foot shaped. I've had Crocs before. I think they're stupid. So I am not going to buy these, but I do think it's kind of interesting, and I'm sure there are lots of people that will want them. So that's cool. I'm happy for those people. Yeah, it's they're really cool looking though. I'll be honest. Part of me almost wants them not even to wear, just just to have as memorabilia. But they are cool looking Crocs for sure. There is a Ghost of Yotoi focused state of play that is tomorrow. When you guys are seeing this, happening at 5 p.m. I guess it's a state of play just for Ghost of Yotoi. It's about 20 minutes. I will probably be watching that because I'm kind of interested in Ghost of Yotoi. I don't know. I guess I probably won't know much about it because I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, but I'll probably still watch it and see if there's anything useful. Useful for me to know. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of excited about Ghost of Yotoi. I'm not going to play it when it comes out, but I'm going to play it at some point, probably next year. I think I'll probably get around to it. We'll see though. I don't know. Maybe I'll play Ghost of Tsushima and not like it, but it seems like I would like it, so I will probably play Ghost of Yotoi at some point, but not right when it comes out because I've still got to catch up. I'm probably going to play Infamous 2 next for Sucker Punch. I guess there's a new indie game coming out that Game Informer was talking about. It looks kind of cool. I actually haven't heard about this. It's coming out next month. It's called Time Flies, and it's about completing a bucket list as a fly. And it's this like black and white hand drawn style animation. It looks kind of cool. I don't know how much it's gonna be. I'm kind of considering checking it out because it's kind of interesting looking. And it's one of those things where you have an X amount of time to beat the whole game. But as you go through the game, it's a roguelike, right? But as you go through the game, you can complete more and more tasks. There's a list of things you have to do. You have to do them all to beat the game. And so you just do it over and over again until you can get all the tasks done. I think that's kind of an interesting idea for a game. And again, I'm pretty interested in Time Flies. I might end up playing it at some point. So after these Microsoft layoffs, the latest Microsoft or Xbox layoffs, I should say. Of course, there's always Xbox layoffs. It seems like every other day they're doing layoffs. Apparently, part of those layoffs was the Forza Motorsport team, Turn 10. Now, the Forza Motorsport team, obviously, we just had Forza Motorsport come out a couple years ago. That was the latest Forza Motorsport. The Forza Horizon series is much more important. It sells much better. There's more games that come out for Forza Horizon these days. But the Motorsport team, the Motorsport just came out a couple years ago. I guess generally they just assist the Horizon team, but of course, they've made a couple games here and there. And apparently they are no more. They are now no longer around. 120 people are gone, apparently, according to the people that used to work at the studio. So those staff apparently are going over to Playground Games, which makes the Forza Horizon series. So I guess that's kind of the end for Forza Motorsport, it seems. It seems like Forza Motorsport is completely dead. I guess the only way that it could come back is if the Horizon team, takes a break and makes a Motorsport game themselves. But I am guessing that they just are done doing Forza Motorsports altogether, and we're only going to get Horizons from here on. Personally, I haven't played much Forza. In Motorsport, it's not my favorite, but I do think it's kind of a shame that one of the three games left on Xbox is going away. So that's kind of sucks. And it's another thing that we see with these layoffs. And I mean, that's just how it goes, I guess. But it's pretty unfortunate. All right, so IGN actually has something positive to say about Nintendo for the first time in, 40 years? So I guess Furukawa was asked in an interview about the effect of lengthening game development cycles, and if we would see longer game development cycles on Switch 2 because of its increased power, which obviously we are. I think we are seeing these longer development cycles, and that's why we're getting less games. Furukawa says, recent game software development has become larger in scale and longer in duration, resulting in higher development costs. The game business has always been a high-risk business, and we recognize that rising development costs are increasing that risk. And then IGN says, to mitigate this, he explained that Nintendo is devising various ways to maintain our traditional approach to creating games amidst the increasing scale and length of development. We also believe it is possible to develop game software with shorter development periods that still offer consumers a sense of novelty. So they're going to basically subsidize, or not subsidize, they're going to have their larger games, but then in between they're going to put out smaller games. I mean, Nintendo's always done that. I mean, the idea is, right, they always used to have the console space and the handheld space, and you usually get shorter development cycles, cheaper games, oftentimes shorter games on handhelds, to contrast the longer, bigger budget games on console. Of course, now on Switch, during the Switch generation, there was some concern that we would get fewer of those shorter handheld games, which I do think we got fewer of them. But we still got plenty of games that would be considered handheld-esque games on Switch, and it seems like Nintendo is refocusing to do more of those. So that is good news that we'll get more games, and it's also good news that potentially we'll still see more of those handheld style games. So I think that's pretty interesting. And IGN is actually giving Nintendo praise for once, and I agree. I think they have a good strategy here to combat rising development cycles, because you look at a lot of studios, whether it's a Rockstar or something like that, and a lot of them, they just don't care. They're just like, yeah, we'll just make one game for 10 years. And to be honest, it's fine. It works out fine for them, because then they make $4 trillion after 10 years, and so they're fine. But I think it makes more sense to have the shorter games in between the longer games. I heard also the other day, I don't have the article up with me anymore, I guess the Ubisoft Montpellier team, the one behind the Assassin's Creed series, they are restructuring to make Assassin's Creed games less open and more linear. Which, to be honest, the earlier games are a little more linear and a little less open. So I think that's a good return to form, and I think it will mean that we'll have more Assassin's Creed games, and they won't be horrible quality. I know people were pretty happy with Shadows, but I know, the last few people haven't been as happy with, so maybe that's a good thing for Assassin's Creed as well. So, I mean, there are definitely some companies out there taking steps to shorten development cycles and to get more games out. I guess I'm not totally against the idea of development cycles being longer. because we do get some big budget stuff out of it, but I think there should be stuff in between as well. We definitely need to do something to get some shorter ones as well, because I don't want to end up in a situation where there's several series that go 2 generations without a game, and that happens already with some, but I don't want it to get more and more common. Alright, so apparently, according to Kotaku, they did a bunch of research. I guess the charge jumps in Mario Kart World do not make you go any faster. Obviously, the charge jumps, they're just like the drifts, but you can keep going in a straight line. And personally, I use the charge jumps like crazy. Like, I'm not moving straight without using a charge jump. But apparently, you actually slow down significantly while charging, while in the air, and then when you land on the ground, you get a little boost. That kind of makes up for it, but it doesn't, you don't go any faster, and you usually, over time, you go actually a little bit slower. So I found that kind of interesting. And they did all this research. You can read the article yourself. It says, Kotaku, the article is, say it ain't so, charge jumps are slowing you down in Mario Kart World. If you're more interested in what they have to say, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I guess they did some testing and found that indeed, when two of the same character in the same cart are driving on the same path, and one is charge jumping whenever possible, and the other one's not, the one that's not charge jumping actually reaches the destination faster. Which is really surprising for me. I assume that they were useful, but I guess they're more for vanity. And I guess, it can be useful, right? You can dodge objects, you can jump over objects, you can jump on racers, which gives you another boost. But if you're just generally on a straightaway, apparently it is not good to do charge jumps. That might be why I'm having so much trouble with the 150cc knockout tour, because you'll notice I did not talk about Mario Kart World, because I have the last 4 knockout tours on 150cc that I'm like very stuck on. So I'm just gonna do it over time. But yeah, I'm gonna try again on Mario Kart World without the charge jumps and see if I can do any better. Because I did not realize that they were gonna be shorter like that. But I thought that was a very interesting thing. There's a video linked here. Somebody else did this research as well, and they found the same thing, that apparently the fastest way to go straight is actually just to go straight and not to snake or wall ride or rail tricking or any of that stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Tokyo Game Show 2025, that is happening on September 25th, or at least that's when it's starting. It happens over a few days. I guess PlayStation, Sega, and Square Enix have all recently confirmed that they are all going to be there at the Tokyo Game Show. I know the Tokyo Game Show, I don't watch it personally. I like to read about the stuff afterwards. But yeah, apparently, I guess also there's a bunch of developers, some of which aren't normally there, that are showing up to this Tokyo Game Show. So that's kind of cool. I mean, there's a lot of the big ones. I mean, there's the Summer Games Fest, there's the Game Awards, Gamescom is pretty popular, PAX is pretty popular, and Tokyo Game Show is also pretty important. So maybe we'll hear some new stuff from Sega. I'm particularly interested in Sega to see if we'll hear about a Persona 4 Revival release date. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, they're coming to the Tokyo Game Show. That's not really surprising, but it's interesting. Square Enix, they're still celebrating the Final Fantasy IX 20th anniversary. They released a special movie, which is a minute long. I don't really know if you can call it a movie, but it includes some cutscenes from the original game on PS1. This is partially to celebrate the 25th anniversary. And this is obviously leading a lot of people to believe that we could get a Final Fantasy IX remake when the Final Fantasy VII trilogy of remakes concludes, which I think that's actually a pretty reasonable idea. They're obviously not going to remake 8. I don't think a whole lot of people like 8. 9 would make the most sense as the next one to remake, other than the originals. I think the original 6 would also kind of make sense. But yes, I think 9 is probably the next one that makes the most sense. And yeah, when they finish the 7 trilogy, I think they could do that. Or they could do it while they're doing the 7 trilogy. I guess there's nothing saying they couldn't put a different team on it. It's definitely possible. So I think that's interesting. We could end up seeing a Final Fantasy IX remake. I don't know if they'll do another trilogy, or if they'll do a duology, or if they'll just do one game. Whatever the case, I think that would be kind of interesting. I'm kind of here for it. But we still got to get the 3rd game in the 7 remake trilogy. So the PlayStation 4 got a free update, version 12.52, apparently. I guess all they did in the patch notes was make security fixes to the system software. I guess, this obviously surprised a lot of people. It's a little weird that, the PlayStation 4 would be getting updates this many years after they came out. But, you know, you do see this stuff happens every now and then. I mean, the Wii U and the 3DS got got updates just last year when their services went off, so it makes sense that the PS4 would get an end of life update, and I imagine it'll get another one when the servers shut down for PS4. So I guess the PS3 also got one earlier in the year to renew the disk drive, something or another, so you could use the Blu-ray discs to continue watching movies. That's cool, I suppose. So I guess, you know, it's a little surprising when old consoles get updates, but it's not like terribly shocking. I mean, the Switch is still, there's been a couple updates now since the Switch 2 came out on the Switch 1. Of course, the Switch 1's not quite as old, but still, you know, it's not the current thing anymore. But that's kind of all I have for news today. It was actually a pretty lackluster. Wasn't a whole lot going on this week. I'm really kind of just holding for Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I'll probably come back next week having beaten a couple things, I hope. I did try to go back to Final Fantasy III a couple days ago, but it's been like a few weeks since I played it, and I was very confused as to where to go and what to do, so I'll probably have to pull up a guide and figure out where I was and figure out where I'm supposed to go next. Maybe I can get back to Final Fantasy III. I'm not promising I'll beat that, but as soon as I do beat Final Fantasy III, I'm going to try Breath of Fire. Is going to be my next classic turn-based RPG. I'm also going to jump into Yakuza maybe in the next week. I'm hoping to finish up Mario Kart World finally, now knowing the charge jumps are not helpful. Hoping to finish up Shadow Generations as well. We're on the road all day tomorrow, so maybe that'll be my opportunity to finish it. And otherwise, yeah, I'll probably be playing something on the Wii U. I might pull out the Xbox again, play something on there. We'll see what happens. No promises, though, on that front. And I'll probably get back to Astrobot finally after quite a few months, because I've been really itching to get back to Astrobot. Looking to start Assassin's Creed 2 again pretty soon, because I tried that game on Xbox 360 and my progress got deleted. That's a common issue with that version of the game. So I bought it on PS4 through the Ezio trilogy, and now I'm going to try it on there. So a lot of stuff I'm hoping to get up to in the next week. I'll probably be working on a lot of videos as well. Oh, I actually totally forgot to mention, last week on Friday, I had my big video go out, my top 50 video games of all time. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you probably didn't see that, so make sure to go check that out. It was an awesome video. I think it's the best video I've ever made. And I'm going to put out an audio-only version in the podcast feed. I meant to do that earlier this week, and then I was just too lazy, and I forgot to do it. So I will be doing that probably tomorrow or Friday. Probably Friday I'll do that. I don't know if it'll go out on Friday, but I'll probably make it on Friday. It'll probably go out either Friday or Saturday. So expect that, and this weekend, or maybe on Friday, expect the audio version of that top 50. But if you want to watch the video version, or if you want to watch the video version without audio, or without video, I mean, yeah, without audio, that wouldn't be helpful. You can do that as well. So whatever you want to do, I suggest you watch that video. It was awesome, and I'm gonna head out. But first, I will plug the email. Email the show with any questions, any comments, anything you want to see about Donkey Kong Bonanza or otherwise. You can email the show at notjustnintendo@gmail.com. That is notjustnintendo@gmail.com. Or if you're on YouTube or on Spotify, you can just comment through those apps. You don't have to email, I guess. If you want to, you still can. I really am hoping for some emails in the next few weeks so we can hopefully answer some of those things, because, like I said, there's not going to be a whole lot going on here in the next, I guess in the next week. I guess 2 weeks from now there will be stuff going on, because we'll be talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza. But there's that. Also, follow me and the podcast over on Blue Sky. I've been posting through the podcast account when an episode goes out, and then I repost it on my main account. So do that. Also, join the Discord server. That is linked below. And again, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, any of the three, there's my main YouTube channel with Nintendo games, there's my Geography one, where I play geography games, and then there's my Minecraft one, where I mean, I guess you can probably guess what I might play over there. So follow all three of those YouTube accounts. The Minecraft one, I'm looking to launch properly end of this week, maybe early next week. The Geography one will probably get a video next week, and the main channel hopefully will get a video next week as well. So I've got a lot of plans. We'll see if any of them materialize. But I guess that's going to be it for me for this week. I know this is a shorter episode. Next week, I'm hoping to have a longer one again, and then 2 weeks from now will be probably an abnormally long episode. So hopefully they'll make up for this shorter one. All right, everybody, see you next week. Thanks all for watching. 8 days till Donkey Kong Bonanza.